So Graven, tell me about your new album, or the one coming out.
All right. I have an album coming out on the 15th this month.
Okay.
It's more of a compilation, I think.
Yeah.
It's called Twins, Coincidence, and Symmetry, and it's going to be out on all platforms online.
Okay.
It's, I've written a few albums, and they're usually written with the intention of becoming an album, and, every song has something in common.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just about a dozen or so songs that I've made in the past few years that never made their way onto an album, and I wanted to get them out before I can proceed. It's an organization.
Right.
tool.
Okay. So it's sort of a way to force you to finally release them after they've been collecting dust. Because
if I don't do it before everything else I've written, I feel like I just never will.
Right. That makes sense.
That'd be a shame.
Could you say the name again?
Yeah. Twins, Coincidence, and Symmetry.
Okay.
There's this astrology book that my mom has, and I looked at it a lot growing up. And there's on the April 11th page, which is my birthday, there's a line that says those exact words.
Okay.
Twins, Coincidence, and Symmetry.
Okay.
As a phrase, and
yeah.
It was under some subheading. I wish I could remember what it was, but I thought they sounded cool, and I like the imagery of it.
Yeah. So any particular reason why that came to you when you thought of titling this album?
The first album I ever wrote that never saw the light of day, it was when I was like 14 or 15, and it had that title.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't love those songs that I wrote. I didn't want to keep them around.
Right.
But I thought the name was still cool, and it still meant something to me, and so I didn't want it to go to waste.
Okay, so it's a recycled album name. That's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of honoring that first album.
Nice.
Even though that sounds dumb.
No, that makes sense. I feel like that makes it's like I think I've done the same thing before, where I have tried to create something in the past when I was more inexperienced, and then look back at it, I'm like, wow, this is trash. But then I'd like take elements of what I had made and then recycle them to create something new, and it feels more special because it's like,
yeah, definitely.
I feel like even in the early stages when you're trying to figure out a craft and it sucks, it's still almost more authentic than, or it's like it's more raw because you know less of what you're doing, so it's like really you.
It's more intuition and momentum based. It's more it becomes more dated in a way, but because it's so personal, you can always remember why you made that decision to do that. Yeah, I found myself picking apart a lot of old songs in the past year. And reusing riffs or phrases in the song that I think still apply.
Oh, cool. So some of the stuff on this album is like musically recycled from that one?
Yeah.
Cool. So you say you've written at least 100 songs, you think? Like over the span of what, like...
You sound impressed.
That's a lot of songs.
Yeah, it is, but, they're all bad. Uh-huh. It's really disheartening.
Not all of them. I mean, because that includes a lot of your new stuff, right?
Yeah, not all of them, but it's... I think the number is a good symbol of, a testament to how long I've been making music. my young life.
Yeah.
But more than half of the stuff is unusable, and
it's just a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
To get to more refined.
I think I'm just glad that I got it out of the way, Yeah. And I'm at a point in my songwriting where I'm confident in pretty much every song I make, because I know what I like and I know how to.
Right, because you've made a lot of what you don't like, and you know what
I know
to avoid.
Yeah.
Right. You're coming out with this new album, but how many other EPs or compilations do you have out right now?
I have, I think, 8 or 9 songs on Spotify and elsewhere right now. I have one EP and another dual single, as well as another single, and all of which belong to another album called Sinner, that I have been working on for a while.
Yeah.
For some people who have been paying attention to my posting online and whatnot probably know that that's the album that I promised would come out this year, and it was a thing that I have been hyping up for a while. But it's not finished. And I wanted to get these B-sides out so I could focus on finishing that album, because
Gotcha.
I had too many songs that I wanted to finish because I enjoy them, but I didn't have a good end goal. I always felt like I needed more of a reason to finish them. Right.
So an album is just your way of like setting a due date on things, almost, or giving yourself
kind of. I write a certain group of songs in a span of time, and it's usually in a time where I'm feeling a certain way or thinking about something specific a lot. And even though my songs typically vary in sound quite a bit, I think they all come from, or they often come from a similar place. And that's what makes an album to me.
Then built by many men for a wash and blow. If you come in last, then you might as well not show, friend or foe. She's made a fan of him, we'll see how good that goes. Cold and brash crow. Our throats grow into a girl again. If the van veers off the road, be a girl again. Of white plush and vitamin soaking cloth of above the past. It's my own violins, drunken buzz. He knows what's in your stash. God knows you got one. Passage clears our throats, grow into a girl again. If a van veers off the road, be a girl again.
When you are inspired to write a song, whether it be inspired in a more musical way or a more poetic way, what tends to be your biggest source of inspiration?
I look at a lot of paintings that make me feel inspired. Namely, artist Marc Chagall. He's a favorite painter of mine, and his work inspires me quite a bit, especially that of my lyrics. I think a lot of my lyrics specifically are just cheeky descriptions of images. I think of it as like if it were a freeze frame in a play and somebody went around while everyone else was frozen and narrated.
Okay. So it's almost like you're looking at these paintings as a three-dimensional, like a three-dimensional scene that you can explore. And what kind of subject matter do his paintings contain?
He depicts angels in his work a lot. And a lot of, flying people and objects and very simple but emotive faces that are, I don't know, they have a lot of depth. And when he uses color, it's very intentional and deep, and like the hues are very dense, striking, but he's also extremely good with line work and kind of letting you fill in the blanks yourself.
When you see his art, does it stir up any particular emotions or like thoughts about certain topics, or is it more of just kind of a abstract, obscure feeling that
I don't know, it varies. His paintings, as well as any other idea or image that I've created in my head, it usually is an abstraction and sort of a lot of feelings put together, and then I dissect what each feeling comes from, you know, why I interpret it
Okay.
a certain way.
I've looked and listened to some of your lyrics on some songs, and I don't quite understand, like, you know, I don't see like a logical path that would be pointing to anything in particular, but I can see almost maybe some of your songs are like collages or of a bunch of different random feelings and ideas that are inspired by a painting. Yeah,
a painting or some idea that conjures you know, a striking image in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, collage is a good way to put it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's you know, like I'm just sorting through different feelings and
sit and wait, you think of all the things you hate. You shed your skin, you shed your fate. Spotlight on the tiles for you. It catches you when nobody is catching you. Breaking your own rules that you set in place for absolution. You learned it from the best. Halfway through with no rest. Sit and wait, recall the things that you create, the things that coyly break our hearts, the things that you can never change. Take it back, heal over time, and blur the past. This is no time for past laughs. You evil man should know better. You learned it from the best. Halfway through with no rest. Kill your time the best. Now they sleep with no rest.
Nice.
Have you been working on any music?
I am at the point where I've pumped out a bunch of songs in terms of songwriting. I've written a bunch of songs, but I haven't recorded them, and performing them has become more and more mundane and kind of a task.
Mm-hmm.
It's starting to feel like I'm doing work when I play a lot of the time, and I really don't want that feeling to come anywhere near any sort of, you know, musical thing that I'm doing, because I love music and I don't want it to turn into a chore. So I think my next step is to just start recording and shift gears from the gigging aspect to the recording and the refining and just more the creation side of things, but not creation in the way of writing, but more taking what I already have, this
finishing
structure, and enhancing it. And I think that'll make me feel more inspired too, because it'll add a lot of depth to each of my songs. I feel like recording always does, because you have the freedom to add things and look at things in detail.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a habit I had to kind of force myself into in the past, like, year and a half, where I used to record a part of a song and then sit on it for, years, and never be happy with it. But the times where I just, did it all in one sitting, I've like never not been content with that.
Yeah.
Just
definitely
having the idea and then immediately actualizing it is
right.
so
Feels
rewarding.
So good.
I typically don't, keep myself up wondering what the song could have been or whatever, because I think that's all the song was supposed to be. What I was feeling in that moment.
Right. Yeah, you're closer to the source. Yeah, it might sound corny, but I totally agree, because you're like...
When I say feeling, I don't mean, I was feeling angry and so I wrote a angry song. I mean, the groove of the song, I was in a zone.
Well, I feel like your songs are they're more multifaceted than just like a simple... There's so much to it, and I feel like if you... I don't know, if you're closer to that original feeling of whatever that was that sparked the song, it's going to be maybe more authentic and...
Yeah, for sure.
And fresh, because I feel like when you... Kind of my issue, I've been playing these songs over and over, I've become a little bit deaf or desensitized to whatever it was that really shined to me initially.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like these songs can't be saved. There's definitely things that I can things that'll resurface for me, I think, once I start really digging into them and recording them. But right now I've been looking at them from this angle of gigging for too long, and they've become very mundane.
Yeah.
But I think I don't think it's ever too late to, like... Obviously it's nice if you can just write it and then put it down, track it right there, but I think it's always possible to go back and figure out what it was about that song that was so special.
Yeah, much of the songs on this album of mine coming out are that, it was a fragment of a song that I had recorded some time ago, and I worked on it until I got sick of it, and then I abandoned it for 6 months, and then came back to it, and I remembered how much I liked certain parts of it, and then I got to go back to it with a fresh ear and then refound appreciation for it.
that wraps up our episode for the Missing Musician podcast. We'll be seeing you next time.
Check out Twins, Coincidence, and Symmetry on the 15th of December, please.
Good enough.